100% Cincinnati.
Cincinnati's new music.
95.7 MRC.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Clark Montessori High School. My name is Patrick Lewis alongside Joey Olberding, not a freshman this year.
Nope.
Now a sophomore. Welcome, Joey, to our very first broadcast of your Cougar boys basketball season. They start off the year pretty well. They have a 3-1 record going against the Summit team tonight that is right up the street, so a backyard brawl to say. So this team looks quite different than we did from last year, and the Summit team as well looks quite different from last year. Summit has lost a couple of their big scorers. One, Xavier Johnson, who has moved on, and Clark has, well, lost some height, quite say, Joey. So what can you tell us a little bit about what the Clark boys basketball team looks like this year?
Well, right now, Patrick, by the way, great to be here again. I always love being here. But anyways, on to the question. Right now, Clark, they are 3-1, and they're looking pretty good. They're 2-0 in conference play, which is pretty impressive. Their last 3 games, the last game that they played was a loss against Madeira, but their other games were a win against Norwood and a win against Miami Valley Christian Academy, which are 2 new teams in the conference, fun fact, but we might get into that a little later. But overall, right now, Clark 3-1. They've played a few scary games. I talked to the coach earlier, Wally, and he said to me that this team hasn't been playing to their fullest potential, but they definitely have it there.
Right, and they're going to be playing a good team tonight in Summit Country Day, who is 1-2 on the season. Their last game was against Miami Valley Christian, who the Cougars played as well this season, who the Cougars won by 7 points. And, well, Summit beat them pretty well by double digits in a pretty lopsided win by the Silver Knights. And tonight they're trying to get on their first winning streak. The Silver Knights are, with their second win in a row here at Clark Montessori High School. We mentioned a little bit about the roster that Summit Country Day has. I mentioned Xavier Johnson from last year. Xavier Johnson is now at Ohio State as a walk-on on their football team for a linebacker. He was recruited by a number of different schools to go play a small D1 colleges and some D2 colleges for football. But Xavier decided to take his football talents up to Ohio State University to play for the Buckeyes. So they're missing some scores from last year, and quite honestly, Evans and Woods are going to be the biggest scores that Clark has to worry about tonight.
Well, yeah. The guards that Summit has, Terry Evans and Rylan Woods, are some of the best guards in maybe the entire state. They're really impressive. And they have the potential, both of them together, to really tear this league apart. And they've been able to do that in the past. And I'm sure that Clark is going to have to watch out for them above anything else that you'll see today.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun watching the first couple matches with Clark because they have an interesting style of play, Joey. They're small. They lost some height. We discussed a little bit about what they lost in Micah Thomas and Gideon Thomas. Gideon graduating for the Cougars and Micah transferring schools. Both were above 6 feet. Both had jumping ability, and both gave the Cougars a lot of rebounding ability. So now, what do they replace them with? Well, we have a junior big guy named Steph Curry and a senior of Marlon Lyons, who was on the team last year. Marlon, a three-point threat, and plays around the perimeter a lot. But Steph Curry is going to be asked by Coach Vickers to do a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to rebounding.
Yeah, and for the folks at home, we just want to mention, no, it's not that Steph Curry. It's a different Steph Curry. But that Steph Curry is kind of gone into a whole new role for this Clark team. Same with Marlon Lyons, and they're both going to be huge in this game against Summit. And really everybody for Clark is going to be big. This is a big game.
It is a big game, and we are about set to get going here, and we are going to pause as we honor America as we stand for our national anthem. Okay, as we wait for the starting lineups to get introduced by both teams, let's continue our discussion a little bit about what this Clark team looks like. Obviously, I think the senior on this team that's going to be responsible for many of the leadership characteristics and qualities are going to be Deshaunte Hawkins and Brazil Moore. But when it comes to the points, I think both of those are going to be carrying the points weight as well.
Well, yeah, there are a lot of seniors on this. There's a lot of seniors on this team. You have Brazil Moore, Miles Faison. There's a whole lot of guys, and really, it's important to see how this team does.
Yeah, and we'll pause. We'll see if we can get the ambient noise, because this is a great atmosphere in here this new year.
Number 2, Brazil Moore. Number 3, Miles Faison. Number 4, Martin Lyons. Number 34, Deshaunte Hawkins. Led by head coach Wally Vickers. Let's go!
And the starting 5 for your Clark Cougars. It's a great atmosphere in here. A lot of changes have happened. Brian Myers, our athletic director, has moved on to Purcell Marion. We wish him well. A quality individual, but his replacement, Jeff Wiles, has made some awesome changes here when it comes to spotlights, music, and just in-game atmosphere. So it'll be a lot of fun to just be an observer at Clark Montessori High School this year because of what the atmosphere and the what a lot of people say that six-man brings.
Yeah, there are a whole lot of changes in a whole lot of different ways for this Clark team and this whole Clark school. So hopefully we'll be seeing a lot of differences on display here tonight.
Right, as we are ready for the tip, Lions is going to be tipping against Tobel, and Cougars control the very first tip. Here we go. Let's see what they can bring starting off the season. For MRC and the boys basketball, this is the second home game. First one was against Norwood this season. Rotating around the top of the key. This is what they did a lot last year. This is their game. They do a lot of rotations, passing it along the perimeter, pick and rolls, trying to get people open underneath. Shanti Hawkins driving left, and with his left hand converts the very first points in a layup fashion for the Cougars.
That's a good start for Clark because we know that the big people for the Summit team is going to be the guards, not so much the big men, so that's good for them.
As Summit comes down, finds a wide open underneath, blocked by Myra Lyons. A wide open layup was erased, and then they turn it over in transition and back. Steins thought about it underneath and puts it back out. Shot from deep, rattles out for Summit. Big rebound, now loose ball on the ground as Ely comes up with it, and Shanti looking ahead. Shanti in transition, kicks to Faison. Faison from the elbow, rattles out after touching just about every part of the rim.
You're going to see a very fast-paced game here tonight. Both teams that are playing tonight are pretty fast-paced teams, especially Clark, for their smaller size and quicker speed. So keep that in mind as we move forward in this game.
Watch for number 10 and number 11, Ryland Woods and Terry Evans. Those are the two seniors that are returning from last year. They're the ones that are averaging Terry Evans 16 points a game and 15 points a game for Woods, respectively. It'll be their top two scorers. If they can stop those two players, Clark has a good chance to win this evening. As no rush to get a shot up. And we have another three-pointer who rattles out. That is the second three-pointer by Woods. Woods, a three-point shooter in himself, has shot quite a many this season already. Rebound Cougars, and Cougars looking to create offensively. A nice look. Brazil was going baseline, kicks it out to Ely. Ely from the wing is no good, and a defensive rebound for the Silver Knights.
Something you'll be seeing in this game is if Summit continues to shoot threes, then Clark will have to rebound like that too.
Already some good rebounding, both offensive and defensive. Corner from the wing by Flynn is no good, and the Silver Knights have yet to get on the scoreboard with 5:30 to go in this first quarter. 2-0 your score. Brazil looking to drive, was trying to catch Tobel flat-footed. No assertiveness, it seems, for the Cougars this time. Brazil going with his left hand, blocked by BT Tobel.
And something that Clark did a lot last season, which I'm already seeing happening in this game, is they do love to drive it in, but as soon as they get any pressure, they like to go back out.
Cougars inbounding underneath because of the block shot. A very good look for the inbounds pass, but Moore cannot finish the layup. So we'll stay at 2, now under 5 minutes to play.
Sometimes that speed for Clark can be a double-edged sword, and you might see that a lot in this game.
Trying to penetrate and losing the ball is Flynn. Silver Knights get it back. Far corner 3 again, and a nice height advantage is really what gave Tobel that rebound. Our small guards are being towered over underneath, and that looks like, if it continues, could be a problem for the Cougars. Healy looking to penetrate. The first couple possessions, the Cougars looked in sorts, and now a very nice cut to the rim by Faison. Assist by Ely. And Faison will go to the free throw line where he'll shoot 2.
At the free throw line this year, Clark is shooting 61%, which is pretty good compared to Summit's 56. It's not a huge difference, but that 5% can mean so much late in the game.
Faison's first free throw is good, and he's at 64% this season, and Faison was a huge part down the stretch in games making free throws last season, and we'll see if he continues that role again this year. Nice, good-looking shot from Faison with the elbow in and the rotation on the ball. 4-2 the score. Looking down at Tobel, guarded by Faison. Faison, nice job underneath. Another long 3. Out and rebounded by Ely. Ely looking to push, trying to get up, and will be a blocking foul on Flynn as Sean tried to assert himself on that near block, trying to get that layup, and they weren't having it.
Even though we're not even through the first quarter so far, you can already see that a big part of Clark's game plan here is to draw fouls. And that's something Summit doesn't seem very prepared for so far.
Yeah, good point. Well, that fast pace you talked about is going to really help out the foul calling because they're going to be beaten in a lot of situations and trying to recover.
Be a threat, Marlon!
Passing around the perimeter now. Ely trying to penetrate on the right side, and an and 1 to the hole.
That's the talent with this Clark team. Sometimes their small size can be a disadvantage, but in situations like this, guys like Sean Ely are exactly the people you want to have, and exactly the people capable of getting an and 1, and most importantly, converting at the free throw line.
Sean's a great athlete, a two-sport athlete here at Clark. Converts the three-point play, and 7-2 your score, 3:45 to go in this first quarter.
His jersey number says number 1, and that's the amount of points he got on that free throw.
And breaking the press is Summit pretty easily. Woods down low, Marlin defending a fadeaway, barely touching rim. Tobel the long rebound. And then the ball into our laps, which is nice. Are we going this way? There we go. All right, just part of the team here.
We're sitting courtside, so that's something you got to expect to happen once in a while. So.
All right, 7-2 your score, 3:33 to play. The reason why that went out of bounds, if I could go back to that play, the loose ball, Tobel got it in that far corner and then tried to hit Woods coming back out to reset, and the ball hit the foot of the ref.
Yeah, and then it hit you.
Yeah, it did. Right in my chest. Workers' comp. No, I'm just messing. All right, here we go. 3:37. Let's see what the Cougars can tack on their 5-point lead here. Brazil, far corner, picks up his dribble, cross-court pass, gets knocked away, and going the other way is Flynn. Finn, a nice basket in transition. So now 7-4. Probably an errant pass from Brazil there.
Yeah, both these teams are also really good at stealing the ball, so you'll see a lot of steals, a lot of turnovers.
Faison trying to drive. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the size as a couple defenders corral him, and he's going to be called for a traveling violation, and he's dragging that pivot foot.
It's that double-edged sword that's coming into play right now. You can really see with the and one by Sean Ely earlier how it's an advantage and also how it's a disadvantage.
Flynn from the wing near corner. Nice job getting up and tipping that as Terrence McLean and giving it to his buddy Lyons. Deshanti trying to push. Brings it back out to the top of the key and then intercepted again. Flynn, his second steal, and finishing at the other end. They have more points in steals and transition points than they do in their half court. Right now, the Cougars need to take care of the ball in their half court.
Considering the skill that has happened from Summit in the past few years, you can really see why they're a dangerous team.
Yeah, a blocking foul will be on Ryland Woods. That's the 4th team foul by the Silver Knights. And 0 team fouls for the Cougars now. Deshanti going in with his left hand, and an and one opportunity for Deshanti Hawkins, the senior, being a little slick.
The double-edged sword is out to make a kill right now. That's all I'm saying. It is 9-6 right now, and then could be 10-6 in just a moment. We'll see how this free throw shot goes for number 34.
Yeah, his free throw percentage is not good this year. Deshanti Hawkins is usually a pretty good free throw shooter, and right there barely grazes the rim. Is unfortunately a brick, and we'll stay at 9-6 with 2:23 to go in this first quarter.
Well, talking to the coach earlier, he said that he thinks the offense hasn't really hit its stride yet, which is really the big thing holding them back.
Woods looking to penetrate, cross-court pass to his buddy Evans. Evans with his first shot is a brick, not even touching rim. Underneath, Tobel asserting his presence with a putback.
Even though the main thing Clark wants to focus on right now is the guards, I mean, you can't ignore the big men no matter what.
9-8 your score, 1:50 to go. Faison now driving left, blocked by Tobel. I think we're going to stay here. Yeah, the Cougars have only scored single digits in 1 quarter in their 4 games this season, so they know how to score. I don't think their problem is scoring. Their problem is defense. Nice inbounds look. Lyons cannot make the layup. I'm frustrated himself. Had a bunny right next to the rim and came up a little short, and it goes off the Cougars, and the Silver Knights will inbound. Man, that was a good opportunity for Lyons.
Yeah. It's just the way that these things work against a team so dominant as Summit in the past few years, as I keep saying. They really do have the talent in order to do anything.
Pull up 3 for Evans, whose second shot doesn't go down, rattles out, going in transition. Shanti Hawkins doing a little crossover at the free throw line, kicks it back out. Looking for some spacing now are the Cougars. Terrence McLean in the near corner, looking for a cutting Faison. Nice defense by the Silver Knights. Shanti trying to drive into a couple Knights. Good defense on this possession, now down to 1 minute left in the first quarter. Ely driving with his left hand. That left side has been advantageous, and it is yet again Ely with a 3-point opportunity.
His second one of the game, second one of the first quarter. Who does he look like out there? Prime D Wade? I don't know. He's looking talented, though.
I like that reference. He did look a little like Flash there, although Flash just ended in retirement. But
this year,
I agree. He did look pretty quick off that dribble, and they're finishing really well at the rim when it comes to those blow-bys. Ely solid on his free throw attempt, 80% on the season. 12-8 your score.
Number 1 is in the top 1% of free throw shooting right now.
That's your second 1% or 1 reference. Or I can think that we're probably going to have a couple more as the night goes on, and I'm excited about it.
Don't get your hopes up.
Resetting at the top of the key of the Silver Knights. Looks like a little 2-3 man zone, maybe matchup zone here that the Cougars are playing. 23 seconds to play. With this matchup zone, you can get a lot of mismatches down low, which has happened already for the Cougars.
Unlike how Summit will be playing, Clark can't be too reliant on steals. They have to be really safe about a game against Summit.
Woods at top of the key, kicked it to the corner with 3 seconds to go. Short on the three. 3, 2, 1 as the ball goes up from midcourt. No good, and they could put this one in the books as a double-digit scoring quarter as the Cougars lead the Silver Knights 12-8. And we'll take a short break, and we'll meet you on the other side for the start of the second quarter.
100% Cincinnati.
Cincinnati's new music.
95.7 MRC.
And we're back to the start of the second quarter here at Clark Montessori High School. The Silver Knights will inbound. Down by 4, 12-8 your score. The Silver Knights need to get their duo going. Right now, Tobo has been a presence underneath, but Woods and Evans have been quiet. The big contributor has been Flynn, as Woods right now, as I mentioned his name, gets it on the block against some of those smaller Cougars as he's fouled going up and will shoot 2.
Well, you're talking about contributors, Patrick. I got to mention Sean Ely. He's contributed to 8 out of the 12 points for Clark so far. Really been huge for them thus far, and we'll see if he continues into the second quarter.
Hopefully you can hear the cheerleaders for the Cougars in the background. They're voicing their opinion for these free throws as Woods hits his first one, a 75% free throw shooter in his first 3 games. For what we account for. And rattles the second one in. Cuts the lead in half, 12-10. Let's see what the Cougars can do coming into the second quarter. Shanti near wing. Will rotate the basketball back over. Now has it at the top of the key, looking to penetrate left. Good defense by the Knights, cutting that off. That was a gold mine the first quarter. Marlon Lyons now trying to assert himself at the top of the key with a 3 and misses. Rebound by Woods and fouled for the second team foul by Terrence McLean.
A lot of things that you see when you're doing high school games, or at least from what I've had as experience, is a lot of big guys do like to shoot the 3. And a lot of the time it's not so accurate, but with Lyons, he really does have the potential to be able to do well from beyond the arc, which is something that Clark could really use from their big men.
Yeah, last year Lyons shot the three-pointer at a 32% clip. And he's a big guy. He's listed on the roster as around 6'3", as a nice penetration for his first points as Terry Evans for the Silver Knights, tying the game at 12. So Lyons can shoot the 3, but he's no 6'2", 6'3". He's more like 6'5". Usually they try to get the measurables as a pull-up jump shot for Sean Ely is good on the opposite side of the floor. So we're trading baskets here, 14-12.
That was a nice little slight, but not really push off for the mid-range jumper. That's fancy work. I like it a lot.
I'm sure he's gonna love that you approve of that, Joey.
Well, I approve of any basket for Clark basketball, but that one was especially nice.
Terry Evans near wing, 3-point, no good. Rebounded by the Cougars, looking to push. Ely driving baseline, now kicks it back out, thinks twice about it. Rotates the basketball to Faison. And now Ely gets it. Almost every single Cougar touches the ball in a possession, which is exactly what head coach Wally Vickers wants.
It's a lot like the San Antonio Spurs. They never touch the ball for more than 3 seconds.
Long three-pointer by Brazil Moore is off. He has a very high-arcing shot and a good rebound in the middle by Faison. Cougars resetting. The tallest person now is Lyons on the court, and most likely will be for the most part unless we see Steph Curry for a lot of his contributions. Ely looking, nice pull-up jump shot, and his second in a row.
He is on fire. He is part of the Heat.
Exactly right. Oh, I missed your analogies and quips. Woods pull-up, no good. Lyons rebound, no one underneath. Tobel, where were you for the Silver Knights? 3 Cougars were defensively rebounding on that, so back up to a 4-point lead. 5:10 to go in this first half. Wally Vickers says to his team, run number 1. It looks like they got a box set here. Sean Ely going back to the baseline, now giving it down low, and losing control is Lyons, and the ball will be off of, it looks like Summit. Summit knocked it out, so Cougars will retain possession. It was kind of unclear. One official kind of pointed to the direction of them. So, Faison, pull-up jump shot from about right inside the three-point line, and a long two for Miles Faison.
For once, Sean Ely isn't getting a point here, but we'll take it.
Yes.
6-point lead right now, 18-12.
Spread the wealth, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Evans looking to assert his role now. Trying to lead this offense. Guarded by Brazil Moore now at the top of the key. 4:30 to go. Drives and finds a Tobel. Tobel misses the bunny. Brazil on the other side looking to push. Pushing, slicing, swerving, and not serving, unfortunately. Misses the layup. Back is Terrence. Terrence McClain against a slashing Evans, and Evans wins that battle. And Silver Knights won a timeout. We'll take a 20.
That's the thing about these Summit players is they're so big that they can just push past somebody. Even if they're guards, they're so big that, especially Evans, that he's built like he could be a forward, but he's a guard, and he's a really good guard too. So that's something that Clark really has to watch out for, and it's really dangerous for them as they protect this 4-point lead.
Yeah, you can tell the height difference, and it's quite a bit of a height difference for Summit against the Cougars, because I'm not sure why they're not more pushing the low post and getting the ball down low. When the first possession of the second quarter, you can tell that's what the head coach for Summit was trying to do. He got Woods on the low block and gave him that opportunity. So we'll see if that continues to be the trend. Now at a 4-point lead, 18-14 with 4 minutes to go in this first half. We'll see what kind of style the Cougars come out with. They are playing a zone here for Summit now. Looks like a 3-2 zone to try to get that perimeter shooting at a minimal.
Well, when I talked to Wally earlier, he said that they were really focusing on playing full-court defense. They're prioritizing defense over offense, which Wally also said they thought that defense had been better for them so far this year than offense.
Yeah, and I have to agree with them because they seem to be shooting the ball well right now, but they can't necessarily stop the other offenses. Terrence McClain drives and gets rejected by Schuler.
With plays like that happening, you really do have to only take good shots, and driving the basket isn't necessarily a smart idea, even if the center position and the interior isn't as strong for Summit as the guard.
So the inbounds play, Lyons gets a screen and an air ball. Lyons not shooting the ball. He's got 2 shots and has been off pretty far on both of them to start this game. Now with 3:10 to play, the Silver Knights trying to cut this lead in half. Lyons trying for a steal on the perimeter, and Woods will shoot a 3 and knock that one down. That's the third one, I believe, that he's tried from out there, and third time's a charm. Cuts that lead to 1 now.
It's scary for Clark. They have to be smart.
Yeah, I think this zone defense is going to be causing them a lot of riffraff as a long shot goes off the mark for Ely. Long rebound goes to Hawkins, and Hawkins drives to the right side and gets a nice layup. Well done by the senior, and quickly Wally Vickers gets a 20-second timeout on his side, now up 3.
The concept of just getting the ball to Sean Ely seemed like a pretty good strategy, but it didn't work out. But DeShanti Hawkins was able to put it back and anticipated what would happen and where the ball would go should he miss it. And, he put it back easy.
Yeah, maybe you can say your opinion on this. Maybe an ill-advised shot early into that possession by Sean Ely. It was maybe a 2-pointer. It was close to the 3-point line. His foot could have been on it, but it was contested. And it was not a good shot in my opinion, as he was way off. The rebound luckily went long to one of our players, and Hawkins was in the right place, right time, and he slashed through and got an easy bucket.
The thing that Sean's been doing so far in this game, as he's accumulated for half the Clark points so far, is the fact that he's taking good shots. Even though he's making them themselves, that doesn't always mean it's a bad shot. The layups he's taken have been good, and the shots that he's created have given him enough space so that, he can do it, which has been good. Yeah,
I would have to agree with you. A majority of the shots the Cougars have taken so far have been good decisions. Let's hope we don't jinx them and it continues to be that way. So the Silver Knights now trying to reset their offense here. The Cougars are back to a man on defense. No matchup zone here. They look like they're strictly man-to-man here. DeShanti Hawkins guarding Evans at the top and gets beat and now has to foul him before a layup is attempted. Evans will go to the free throw line to shoot 2. Or actually, they're not even called that a shot. He looked like he was going to go up. He was in driving mode, but they'll say that's on the floor, which is good for the Cougars.
Yeah, it didn't look like he was about to take a shot. It looked like he might run past. It wasn't easy to tell.
Whoa, Miles Faison rejecting Woods as he goes up. Those hops by Faison are quick.
Hey, do you know who played with Dwayne Wade back in the day? Shaquille O'Neal. That's who he looked like right there. With that huge block, absolutely destroying the opponent.
And that was a long shot, too. It was a good 15, 20-foot shot close to the three-point line. It was, man, he got up there quick to just knock that out of bounds, and Summit retains possession. 1:50 to go in the first half. 2017 year score. Cougars in a man defense. Driving by Evans again and looking to pass. Passes underneath and now resets. Woods trying to get that nice little 10-footer to drop. It doesn't. Up for the rebound and a foul will be called on the floor on the rebound attempt.
So something that I've been seeing throughout this game is that both of these teams are really good at passing. Summit especially. Not to say that Clark isn't either, but both have been especially good at passing so far.
So the foul was called on Marlin Lyons, the team's 4th foul. Worth mentioning that Summit has 16 fouls, so the next foul that happens on Summit's end will send the Cougars to the free throw line, and a pass just sails out of bounds for Summit, and we'll turn the ball over.
I guess I jinxed it, but it was a good jinx, so, we'll take it.
Yeah. I don't know if you call it a jinx if it's something that's still bad, right?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Well, the Cougars looking to do something with 1:10 left in the first half. A nice jump shot. It's a three-point attempt from Ely at the top of the key. Way off, and that's unlike Ely. Ely's a really good shooter, and that didn't look like he was in rhythm. It looked like, honestly, he was coming off a screen, and he was in rhythm, but rose, and when he was short. But luckily, the Cougars retain possession, inbounds, goes to Hawkins underneath, and Hawkins cannot contribute in the layup. So not finishing will put the ball in the Silver Knights' hands now under a minute.
I have a theory as to why Sean is starting to miss these shots.
Step back, long two-pointer by Evans is no good, and the ball will stay at the Silver Knights.
My theory is that maybe I've been talking too high up on him. Maybe I've been too nice to him. Maybe these D-Wade comparisons, now he's looking like Bolds D-Wade, the D-Wade that you don't want to be. So.
And another errant pass. It seems like the Silver Knights are not in good communication with their passes right now, and your jinx continues. So it's 2 straight turnovers for the Silver Knights.
And 2 straight jinxes, too. The Sean Ely one and now the Summit one. So I don't know what kind of mystical powers I have, but I'm just learning about them now.
Well, let's save them for the rest, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see if the Cougars decide to take one shot here with 30 seconds left to play. Marlon Lyons says no. He'll take a 3 off the mark. Rebound by Hawkins. Nice little 11-footer or so is off the mark, and ball is knocked out of bounds. Officials looking at each other to say where it goes, and the Silver Knights will take over with 20 seconds to go.
Unlike Summit, Clark doesn't take very many threes, but Clark does have a better three-point field goal percentage, being 43 compared to Summit's 37, which is interesting to me.
10 seconds and ticking right now. Woods gets a screen by Tobel. Faison guard, now Shanti looking at Woods. Kicks it out. Evans trying to penetrate. Long from the corner is going to be a no good. And a putback by Tobel. It looks like the half was not going to end because a ref, I believe one of the officials, called a foul on Deshaunte Hawkins with like 0.5 seconds left on the clock. So the air ball by Evans went well over the basket, right into Tobel's hands, and Tobel put it up, and it looks like they're calling a foul on Hawkins with very little time left on the clock. So Tobel will have a 2-shot opportunity with no seconds, I guess, on the clock because no one is going to be on the blocks, and Tobel misses the first. But a very interesting call here with no time, I guess. They're just going to let the rosters go to their benches. for these two, and Tobel misses both of them, and that will end the half, and a bizarre ending to this first half here at Clark. 20-17 score.
Luckily, it didn't seem to matter that much to Clark aside from a foul. It didn't change the score at all, which is really good because that would just be a really bad way to end the half. Change a lot of momentum, put it more towards Summit side, even though they're losing right now. So it's good that he missed both of those.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've always thought that if a foul occurs and it was a bad call by the officials, one of the free throws will miss.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing.
Ball never lies.
Yeah.
Ball never lies.
Yeah, it's very true. So we'll step away for a few minutes here for about 5 to 6 minutes, and we'll come back and discuss what we're looking and anticipating for in the second half. Your score, your Clark Cougars 20, the Summit Silver Knights 17.
Beamin'.
No music, you heard?
Beamin' the boom. From high atop Essex Studios, this is WVQCLP Cincinnati.
95.7.
95.7.
95.7 MRC.
Cincinnati's new music.
And welcome back to Clark Montessori High School, 95.7 MRC. My name is Patrick Lewis alongside sophomore extravagant, the magnificent Joey Olberding here. And we are starting to get to the point where we're going to start the second half for the Clark Cougars against the Summit Silver Knights. The team up north is giving us a run for our money right now. They are only 3 points behind and trying to ruin our home field game here on our court. And quite honestly, they're not having it because I feel like the Cougars are going to come out with the same intensity to start the game, to start the second half as they did to start the game.
Well, that's not to say that Summit won as well. They're going to make adjustments in the locker room, and they already have as both teams are back out here as we have about a minute to go before the second half starts. But you really have to be careful of every single weapon on Summit, especially the guards. But that's not to, forget any other player on Summit. And same with Clark. Clark has a lot of depth, so really you have to watch out for both sides if you're both teams, but especially Clark, the guards there that are there for Summit.
Yeah, and talking about the guards, Evans and Woods, their two big scorers are the ones that have touched the ball the most. Woods especially in the first quarter. Woods did a really nice job controlling that. And then in the second quarter, Terry Evans was coming out inserting himself into that second quarter. So you can probably see them playing off each other a little bit more in the second half.
To put it into perspective, just how dominant those two are, when you look at points per game that have come out this season, Terry Evans is 16.5, Rylan Woods is 15.0, and the highest scorer on Clark is Sean Ely with 14.3. So that just shows how dominant those two are.
Yeah, and you can see that in this game right now, Sean Ely and Deshaunte Hawkins are the scorers for the Cougars and Evans and Woods. Aside from those breakaway and in transition points by Gates Flynn, those are the people who've been scoring.
Especially Sean Ely. He was really the big person for them in the first quarter, but in the second quarter he kind of dropped off. So we'll see how he does this quarter.
And the Cougars will start with possession up 3. We'll see what kind of defense they get. The Summit was going with a 3-2 zone to limit the perimeter shots, and it looks like they will be in a similar zone to start the second half. So a 3-2 zone, kind of going in and out for the Cougars, going to down low to Marlins, and they kick it back out. Now they do their perimeter passing. Hawkins at the top of the key. Looking for Lions down low. Lions getting held quite a bit by Tobel, and Tobel will earn his team a first foul of the second half.
And like you said earlier, Patrick, you're going to see that same aggressive tone from Clark, but just aggressive enough to force some fouls from Summit, which is hopefully what they'll be able to do.
Looking for Lions again. I believe they're going to try both teams to establish some type of inside presence moving forward. Lions from the top of the key can hit that, back irons, and long rebound to Tobel, who was guarding Lions at the top of the key.
That's his third 3 of the game and his 4th shot overall, and he's missed all of them. Has not been very effective for Clark thus far, and they should probably get the ball out of his hands in situations like that.
So looks like a matchup zone again for the Clark Cougars coming out defensively at the top of the key. Evans guarded by Ely. Tobel at the top as well behind is guarded by Ashanti. Now that's a mismatch if they can find Tobel, but Woods is going to go against Faison. Woods bullies his way in, but Ashanti doing a nice job blocking out, getting the rebound, wants to push. Kicks it out to Ely. Nice pump fake, pull up jump shot from the corner. Buckets.
Ely doing well again. That's always great, and this team is just so good. They have so much chemistry. You can just tell. It's really beautiful to watch sometimes.
5-point advantage for the Cougars. See how the Silver Knights respond. Evans, long three from the opposing wing. Off the mark. Ely gets the rebound, looking to push. Shanti's got room, but then loses the ball and then picks it up. Shoots from the corner and makes it just inside the arc. Largest lead of the game for the Cougars now.
That was an impressive play. Getting it up from the ground and shooting it and making it. Obviously, that's not easy to do. You have to give him credit.
5:45 to play in this third quarter. Wonder if the Silver Knights, sensing a little bit of this game, can get it out of hand if they don't get a response here. Woods backing down Faison. Faison trying to do his best, reaches in, and will be a foul on the floor. Luckily, because Woods looked like he was going to go up for a shot, he looks a little disappointed that was not a shooting foul. It will be underneath.
In situations like that, you have to take what you can get, though, and that's a foul that you will take it any day of the week.
Now penetrating is Flynn. Flynn with a nice defense and steal by Brazil. Brazil trying to pass to Faison. Faison back to Brazil. They were passing it at their feet. Not necessarily the best bounce passes in the world, but as they're going up the court, they're bouncing at their feet and losing control. So luckily it's out on the Silver Knights, and Faison will inbound underneath the basket, looks for Shanti, and Shanti's got a nice matchup, kicks it out. Brazil with the left hand kicked it to Faison for the three, no good. Good job tipping it out, but will be called for a foul. Hawkins, that might be his third or so foul because he got knocked for that tic-tac foul before the halves ended. So they're going to have to bring Shanti out.
Yeah, but, Clark has been shooting a lot of threes in this game, more than they normally do. That's about their sixth or so three, and they've missed all of them. So that's not normally what Clark does, and I would suggest to them not to do that as much, but I'm not the coach. I'm just seeing what I'm seeing, so.
Up 7, 24-17, the Silver Knights looking to respond here. Long three off the mark. Nice rebound brought down by Terrence McLean.
To be fair, Summit has also been shooting the three ball a lot.
Nice kick out again. Lions finally finds the bank a little bit and makes a deposit.
Well, he went in and cashed in the check. So there you go.
Wonderful. Trying to respond is Evans from the top of the key. Misses. Offensive rebound. Woods, long three from the wing and hits it.
That's just how impressive he is.
Yeah.
He can just totally reset the momentum in the blink of an eye. That's how impressive this Summit team is. They crush your dreams into little tiny bite-sized pieces sometimes. But that's how good basketball teams play.
Lions now looking to penetrate, will get fouled on the floor. I know Vickers was upset about that because they had some momentum, largest lead of the game at 10, was hoping to get that rebound off the first one, doesn't get it, and then that kick out for the three and that long three really just upsets the coach because of that momentum. So hopefully they can find that again. Inbounds pass to Ely. Ely, a very nice job getting a ball into the rim there on that inbounds pass.
He's just doing so well. That's prime D Wade right there. Prime D Wade from the stuff that we've seen, the good stuff. That's prime D Wade.
Yeah, I would agree with you because he did a nice spin move underneath. Tip ball up for grabs. Summit gets it. Evans now penetrating. Looks like a very strong take and will be fouled on the floor. Now, I want to go back to that Ely shot right here underneath. Yeah. Give me some description about what happened there and how good of a footwork that was.
Well, Ely was just able to patrol around the basket with like a lot of skill, and he's just so impressive. So he just put up the shot, and I mean, from where I was looking, I was thinking, okay, he's done pretty well thus far, But a shot like a shot that he tried to make, he had kind of a iffy second quarter. So I was thinking, okay, after the first quarter, which was really good, he probably won't be able to do quite as well as he did in the first quarter. But he's proving me wrong right now. He's just doing really well with his shot-taking ability.
Yeah, right now they are at a 9-point advantage with 3:37 to go, 29-20. Silver Knights have only scored 3 points in this third quarter. So we'll see coming out, 2 team fouls for Summit, 3 for the Cougars. Summit to inbound underneath their basket, looking for Tobel. Will have to kick it back out. Flynn, back to Tobel. Woods thought about that 3 from the same spot he just made it from, thinks otherwise. Penetrating is Evans. Nice strong take that time, and quite honestly, no one can stop him when he's going to go that strong to the hole as he converts.
Especially because, as we touched on earlier, Clark doesn't really have a huge designated big man out there right now. Steph Curry hasn't played so far, so it's been weird.
Nice take by Brazil Moore, and then finds McLean, who's way off on his long shot attempt. And a good defensive rebound. Evans now going against Moore. Moore tries to stop the ball. Nice job by Lyons to get his boys back and swatting that out of bounds.
Well, once again, Clark is proving me wrong. As soon as I say, big men, Steph Curry isn't playing, we get a big block like that from Lyons. So it really just shows how this Clark team is so versatile.
29-22, 2:45 to go in this third quarter. The offense for Summit looks a little out of sync. It looks like one-on-one basketball. Step back. Woods from free throw line is good.
He is the type of player that would beat you in a one-on-one matchup, isn't he? That's just how I keep on saying it, but it really is true. He's just looking so good out there.
Brazil Moore with a very wild shot on the baseline. Luckily, the Cougars bring it back. Lyons for 3, and he got it. He's feeling it now.
Now, after 3 misses to start it off, he's shooting 40% from 3. 5 shots from 3, by the way. That's way more than anybody else. Maybe even more than Woods from Summit. But he's doing well. Yeah.
Trying to respond to the Silver Knights. 3 is off the mark, corralled by Ely. Ely looks like he's going up in traffic, and a couple fouls that could have been called. It's got a steal and an easy layup, unfortunately, for the Silver Knights on the other end. He hit, I want to say, about 3 Silver Knights defenders that you probably could have called fouls on 2 of them.
Yeah,
but
that was a traffic jam, and he just got stuck. That's all it is. He got into a bit of a crash. He got a little banged up, and, yeah, those were the damages.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because you probably shouldn't have been in that situation to begin with. He was looking, trying to push the ball, doing some spins and crossovers, but maybe trying to pass to a teammate would have been a little bit more of a better decision at that point, but you can't blame the officials. They got an easy bucket on the other end. Now only a 6-point lead. It seems like we've been playing a lot. Like, the Cougars have been playing great team basketball, in my opinion, especially this second half, coming out and scoring 12 points with 1:46 to go in this third quarter. And the Silver Knights have not. It seems like they're just kind of playing one-on-one, seeing if they can find a way to penetrate this and that, and finding somebody open if they don't have an opportunity to drive. And they're only down 6.
Exactly. And the most amazing thing is Summit is 1-2 right now, but that's not to say that they've done bad at all. Their first loss was against the defending state champion, Deer Park, so that's nothing to scoff at. And you really just can't, I'm surprised, quite frankly, that, they're behind by as much as they are right now.
Yeah, it seems like Clark is playing a much better second half and a much better game than the Silver Knights. They're just kind of hanging around, and it's hard to see why. Clark with possession now, 1:30 to go in this third quarter. Let's see if they can add to that 6-point lead. Summit now at a 2-3 zone. Looking down low to Ely. Ely's going to be fouled on the floor.
Well, it's important to mention how now the offense has kind of shifted focus from Sean Ely to DeShanti Hawkins. Sean Ely still has 14 points. That's the most on the team. But DeShanti Hawkins now has 9. 7 of those coming in the second quarter and third quarter. So he's done well over the past, accumulated first half or half.
Yeah, it seems like that it takes the Cougars a little bit to warm up, and it's kind of been their downfall in the first 4 games because when they played Madeira, that was the only time they scored a single-digit score in a quarter, and they got down by as many as 20 in that game as Faison slices in and makes a nice layup to extend that lead to 8.
He just got right past and put it in the basket. It's as simple as that. There are about 3 defenders there, and he just split between them.
Jump shot by Flynn is no good, and a rebound for Brazil underneath, and it's been quite interesting that Summit hasn't been rebounding as well because of their height advantage. No one is now underneath to rebound, and the guards for the Cougars are taking advantage of that. Nice slip in. Ely with a nice job finishing on that slip screen.
That's 16 for him now, and you mentioned Summit's big men. The really big guy is BT Tobel, number 12, but he hasn't been playing well at all so far. He's a really big guy, but the shots he's taking have been bad.
10-point lead now with under 5 seconds to go. A missed 3 by Summit will go in transition. The floater no good by Brazil. And that will take us into the 4th and final frame of this tilt. 36-26 is your score. Joey, I'm pretty pumped up because anytime that CHCA or Summit or a rival conference team comes into this building, you like to see a good game. And you even like to see it better when we're on the plus side of the scoreboard, in which we are right now, up 10.
And you also love to see an energetic crowd, and you're definitely getting that right now. This crowd is electric, seeing what's happening right now, and it's great to watch. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, you got some people that are coming back. Noah Mason, who is contributing as well. He's was a senior last year, now came back and supporting the team. It's always good to see some of those alumni showing up for their team. Yeah. What can we look for in the fourth quarter from these two teams?
I would have to say that Summit is really going to be focusing the ball to more of their big guys. I would assume that they would be focusing more on Rylan Woods because he's been the guy that's really done the most for Summit so far. He's been the guy who's been taking the big shots, and just as the quarter ended, he had a wide-open 3 that, luckily for Clark, he missed. But still, if Summit can get wide-open looks at him like that, he's not going to miss very many others. So that's something that Clark should watch out for, and, yeah, something Summit that I would assume that they should do. They might not.
Yeah. If I'm Summit right now, I give the ball to Evans and I let him penetrate. Yeah. There's been no stopping him when he goes to the basket. We'll see what happens now. We'll see the Silver Knights start the fourth quarter with possession. What kind of offense they want to kind of run here. Woods looking underneath. Nice job going down the middle of the lane as Evans and Woods as they connect for a bucket. Slipping and losing the ball is more, so not a good start for the Cougars in the fourth corner with a turnover and a nice easy basket for the Silver Knights. It kind of looks like a flop, yeah. Miles Faison was trying to get a charge call, but he was not in a real good position in front of the person driving the ball, and that person was Woods. So a foul will be called on Faison, the 4th team foul, and that will send Woods to the free throw line to shoot 2.
You never want a guy who's averaging 15 points a game going to the free throw line when it's as good of a game as right now. You got 7 minutes left to go, and this team's as good as it is. Both these teams have done really well, but
yeah, the scary thing about putting someone at the free throw line is they get points with the clock stopped, and you're up 10. You had momentum going from the previous quarter, and right now it seems like it's stalled that momentum because you're probably going to give up at least 3, maybe now 4 now as he hits his second free throw, now down 6. That's a big momentum shift, man.
Exactly. That's a really important thing about late game free throws is that they change momentum, and momentum's important. Momentum isn't something that you can just change like with the flick of a switch. It's something that is accumulated over time and, you know, switches really fast. It's hard to build up that much.
A little bit more of a press defense now for Summit. Trying to go baseline is Ely, and it looks like a foul will be called on Evans reaching in. So that's a 15 foul for Summit. Both could be in foul trouble here with only 7 minutes to go. If they get a couple more fouls, this could be a free throw contest down the stretch, so that will be important.
Just as I was saying, momentum, those free throw shots, those potential free throw shots will be really important later on.
Looking for Marlin down low, kicks it back out. Passing around the perimeter. Faison gets the ball knocked away and then gets it right back.
That was a bit lucky, but he'll take it.
Marlin down low against Tobel makes a nice layup.
Lions
Good strong
doing
move.
Really well. It's important to mention as we get into the later stages of this game, the dynamics between the two leading scorers, Ely and Woods. Woods has 12, Ely has 16, but Woods has maybe taken better shots. It's really interesting between the two, and we'll see how that progresses through the last stages of this game.
Silver Knights looking to try to create something offensively. Woods telling his players to do something. He clears out, goes to Ely's chest, and will draw a foul on the baseline. That's a 15 foul for the Cougars. Shanti Hawkins now entering the game for Terrence McLean. This is where you want your senior leadership, and hopefully Hawkins can stay out of foul trouble.
Yeah.
Woods, long two, and it was a bizarre sequence there as a foul was called on the shot, but Tobel was pushed into the shooter, his own guy. So it looks like a pushing violation, a pushing foul will be called on Ely.
Weird.
So 2 straight fouls on Ely. He'll stay in the game for the Cougars.
Yeah, but this is not looking pretty for Clark. You got to admit it, especially with you know, Summit, such a scary team. As I keep saying, I mean, you never know what's going to come from them. It's really just that simple. You never know.
We'll see what Evans can do. He gets the ball, drives, step back jump shot from the baseline, no good. Rebound loose, out of bounds to the Silver Knights. Will stay at this end. 5:43 to go. Up 8 are the Cougars.
Marlon Lyons right now, the senior, he's had 8 points in the second half alone. He's doing the old Sean Ely thing, except, you know, he's Marlon Lyons, so it's different.
Woods, ball in hand, tries to drive down the lane. No foul call, loses it, and somehow gets it back. And then another loose ball. It just seems like he's traveling or double dribbling or out of bounds. There was a lot going on there. And eventually he was fouled going up for a shot.
And, of course, this is the absolute worst time to have this happen. This is about Woods' 3rd trip to the line or something similar to that. He's gone up a little too much, especially for maybe Summit's best shooter.
Hits his first. Well, he's got to be, because there's really no one else that's going to take that role on Summit right now.
Exactly, especially of how well Woods has been doing in this game. We've seen a lot more from Woods than we have from Terry Evans in this game.
Woods misses that second rebound, goes to Clark. Miles Faison will be at the helm. 38-31, up 7. Shanti Hawkins rotating the basketball, looking for Faison. Faison nicely done, rotating around and one as he puts it in on the block.
That's exactly what you need in this situation. Like I said, the momentum was shifting more and more towards Summit, but with that and one, completely shifts to Clark's favor, and that's absolutely important with 5 minutes remaining in the game. And another free throw shot for Clark, and another free throw selection, another one.
Faison, a good free throw shooter, makes it. So, matches the largest lead of the game at 10 with 5:09 to go in this contest. Evans trying to respond, driving. Double teamed on that drive. Nice defense by the Cougars there. Hawkins guarding Flynn. Flynn has to give it up. And a foul will be called? Or is it out of bounds? No, it will be out of bounds. Just an errant throw. So Summit gives up a turnover. And the Cougars will have the ball up 10 with under 5 minutes to play. No rush here.
Yeah, that's huge. That is huge for them, but they still need to play smart. Even though you have time in the clock, that doesn't mean that you can be doing anything stupid. Doesn't mean you're safe by any means.
Yeah, and what's great about high school is that you can take as much time as you want in your set. So Ely trying to penetrate, loses the ball, thought he was fouled, ends up in the Silver Knights' hands. Silver Knights trying to create offensively as Evans on the far wing. Now comes the free throw line. Jump shot, high arcing shot goes in. And a quick timeout by the head coach of Summit. Now only down 8.
I'll tell you what, you can't, it's very simple. You can't waste clock time and be able to get clock time off the clock without when you turn over the ball. It's really simple. So you just can't be doing that. You know, like I just said, you need to play smart. So turning over the ball just isn't what you want to do.
Yeah, and right now when you're up 10, you don't want to necessarily worry about turnovers, right? You want to keep control of the ball. That's the main focus, right? Ball control, passing, and then if you make a shot, you make a shot. But if you don't, no big deal because you're up double digits. You come back, you play good defense. This is where Wally Vickers wants to win games.
Exactly.
He's scoring points. He's up. He's against a rival at home. He wants to shut them down defensively. He doesn't want these screens. He doesn't want these slips. He doesn't want these rotations to happen. He doesn't want these long threes to go in. He wants contested shots, and he wants his defense to play well to seal this game with 4:13 to play.
And that's probably why when I talked to him earlier before the game, he said to me that he thought that this team had a lot of potential but hadn't reached it yet. They've definitely shown flashes. As we've seen today, we've seen a few and ones. We've seen a lot of good team basketball, but we've seen a lot of turnovers. So we've seen a big shift and a big divide.
So after the timeout, the Cougars with that 8-point lead. Both teams are going to be in the bonus now. 16 fouls, so the next team foul against Summit will put them in the bonus. A double team press against Faison near midcourt. And his foot unfortunately went over the half-court line while he was in possession. So a backcourt violation is called, and that's not really something you want to do coming out of a timeout. So good defense by Summit. That press turns the ball over. Sean getting called out by his head coach for not giving the Summit player enough space on the inbounds pass. Almost got a foul called on him, but his head coach bailed him out. Evans, long three, rims out. Around the world on the rim, and a lot of Summit fans wanted that to fall.
And I'll tell you what, I didn't want that to fall, so I'm happy, but whatever.
So here we go. Faison now with the ball gets fouled by Steins. Jimmy Steins has played a lot of minutes.
Right now you can see Clark running the wishbone offense right now. They're all around the perimeter, and they're being pretty smart. They're keeping the ball away, and, hey, they just forced a foul right there, so that's always what you want.
Yeah, and Faison, who just made a and one, will go back to the free throw line.
It's important to mention, I mentioned earlier the dynamic between Woods and Ely, but there's also a dynamic between Hawkins and a dynamic between Evans.
And the free throw is no good. Faison not happy about it, but gets lucky because the ball goes out off of Tobel. Will stay with the Cougars on this possession.
Evans right now has 10 and Hawkins has 9, while Ely has 16 and Woods has 13. Pretty interesting dynamic.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a quiet 10 for Evans.
Exactly. I mentioned before, I keep on talking about Woods, but Evans has also been sneakily pretty good.
Traveling violation. Didn't look like he picked up his pivot foot, but a nice bounce pass was going to be on the way to one of his teammates to the basket if that violation wasn't called, but it was. And both teams have 17 fouls going into the last 3:17. Woods mans the point. Evans now with the ball on the right wing against Brazil Moore with help of Faison. No foul called, loses the ball, and we'll stay with the Silver Knights. I'm not sure Brazil Moore can keep with Evans one-on-one. He's going to need help quite a bit if that stays the matchup. Nice job down low. Evans slips Brazil, and Brazil can't do anything about it to recover, and Evans with an easy 2, now only up 6. Ely driving the ball, transition, and one!
His third of the game. If this isn't a dominant performance for Sean Ely, I don't know what is. He is doing absolute amazing works out there right now, and let's see if he can convert this free throw.
Yeah, Clark, as we've been saying all game, has been running with the ball, trying to push it, and they pushed it there with Ely going on the left side, gets the foul call and makes the shot, and cannot finish it with his free throw. Those free throws are going to kill the Cougars late in games like this if they can't make it. There's 2 misses from Faison. And then now Ely at the line under 5 minutes. Now a 7-point game. Tobel underneath can't make a shot. Rebounded by Hawkins. That was a real close shot in proximity to the basket for Tobel. He just missed it, unfortunately, for the Silver Knights. So now you can see the defense for Summit really pressuring the ball and trying to get that turnover with 2:30 to go.
Yeah, well, Summit is kind of in desperation mode at this point. You got 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go. You're down 8. This is the point where you really need to start being more aggressive instead of playing it safe like maybe Summit was doing before, since basically the start of this game.
Yeah, Brazil Moore will be at the line, and he misses a 1-and-1. So 3 straight opportunities for points, and the Cougars are still only, they're up 8. It's surprising enough right now, and Woods trying to drive on Ely. Good defense by Ely, and no one rebounding again. Pushing in transition.
Oh.
A long pass crossed down the court by Faison, trying to hit Hawkins and off the fingertips and goes out of bounds. Not really what you want from your team because you have the lead. I understand the need to press it, but you're up 8. Not necessarily a good decision though. It's just kind of like one of those things that, like, if it works, it's great. If it doesn't, then you're gonna run for it.
This has been a quarter of turnovers and fouls and not much else.
Yeah, and a nice back pass. It was a 2-man game between Tobel and Evans. And Tobel slips down to the basket, making a layup attempt, making it a 37-43 ball game. So now a press from Summit in the full court. Hawkins running the point. 1:50 to go. Up 6. Ooh, nice step back. A lot of people thought he should have shot that ball. He cleared the defender out. And Stein's fouling Brazil Moore now.
Well, you mentioned right there the fact that maybe some people were like, oh, he should have shot the ball, but I say no. At this point in the game, you're up 6. You want to waste clock. That's what you want to do. I would rather you just waste time at this moment than take a 3 that you could very well miss.
Yeah.
He didn't have that much space. Not enough to, not as open as, 5 feet. Definitely not. Maybe a foot, but yeah, not much.
The Cougars take a full timeout here, and we're going to go in and take just one quick break if we can, and we'll be right back for the conclusion of this game.
95-7.
95-7. 95-7.
95-7 MRC.
Cincinnati's new music.
Thank you for joining us here on 95-7 MRC at Clark Montessori High School with 1:41 to go. My name is Patrick Lewis alongside sophomore Joey Olberding for this last little bit against the Cougars and the Silver Knights. Brazil Moore will be at the line shooting 2 now because they are at 10 team fouls. And at that timeout, Wally Vickers reiterating to his players to finish.
Yeah, he was saying don't let Summit take away rebounds. Make sure to get the ball if that does happen and finish the game.
Yeah, not get themselves in trap situations, to keep passing the ball. Don't pick up your dribbles. Make good decisions. You have the lead. And the Brazil Moore, 1 of 2 from the free throw line. And quickly down is the Knights, and Evans is going to be fouled, which would look like a good block from a lot of the fans in this arena, but will be called for the foul, and we'll send Evans to the free throw line.
From my angle, could have gone either way. I thought at first maybe it was clean, but when they called the foul, I was like, okay, that does make sense. But either way, it's really something that you hate to see happen, and you just hope that Clark can make the situation right.
Evans at the line, shooting 2 as it was a shooting foul, makes the first. Evans on the season is a 50% free throw shooter, but again, early in the season with limited attempts, misses the sec, so he's on point with that 50%. And a rebound that you wish the Cougars would have got right there goes out of bounds off of Clark, and we'll stay with the Silver Knights.
The worst part about this is it's a 2-possession game. It's a 6-point game, so you really, really have to be careful.
Looking underneath and finding his man. Evans just misses the bunny, and it's tipped out. Clark going in transition the other way, gets in their half court. Ely going to get in that trap situation that Wally was talking about. Quickly tries to dribble out of it and gets fouled.
And Summit can't really seem to handle when Clark gets their hands on the ball and they don't turn it over. When they're actually, playing offense well and they're being smart about what they do, they can only help but foul, which if I'm Summit, I'm not really happy about, but, what else can you really do when you have all the time on the clock that you want?
Sean Ely making the first of 2 attempts. And makes the second. So finally a Cougar makes both attempts at the line, now up 8 with 1:15 to go. Not much assertiveness now from the Silver Knights. Evans with the ball, guarded by Faison. 1-on-1, 1v1 here, doing a couple crossovers. Finds Woods wide open on the corner. No good as the 3. Rebound Marlin Lions. Shanti pushing. Floater, lane, good. 10-point lead for the Cougars.
10-point lead, and Sean Ely, 20 points out of the 48.
Flynn from the wing hits
shot.
the 3.
Clark still has momentum with the foul, even though that was a big 3 right there. But still, they do have momentum. They're still up 7 with 40 seconds to go. So it's Clark's time to win this. You can hear this, you can hear this Clark crowd cheering on.
Yeah, Sean Ely hits the first one. The scoreboard says 49-41, but I feel like it should be more than that.
It feels like it's been a tighter game, even though maybe it hasn't been in terms of the score. It definitely feels like it.
9-point lead now, regardless. 35 seconds to go. Evans, ball in hand, finds Woods. Woods going baseline, misses the bunny. Contested, nice defense, and Woods gets it back, finds his teammate. Floater no good. Tobel rebound, and into the basket it is. So a timeout after that made basket. Now down 7 with 19 seconds, 20 seconds basically to go in this game. It just seems to be right now at the end of the game a lot of confusion with the scoring table and the clock, and everyone's trying their best here. So trying to stay on top of it with what the right score is and how much time is left on the clock. And I can see where the frustration is coming from both head coaches right now.
Yeah.
Because it's a conference game. This is big. I mean, it's
a
basketball
really big
season.
game, but still, with 20 seconds to go, you're down 7. At this point, the game might just be a lost cause. Honestly, it just might be. If they aren't able to do anything on this possession here, Summit isn't, then I think that's the game. You can't carry on. You can't keep fouling. You just have to say, okay, good job, team. You did well, but just wasn't enough to get it out. All right, we'll do well for the next time. If Summit comes back from this, which I find very unlikely, all props to them, but that's so unlikely. We'll have to see if it even has a chance of happening.
Yeah, anything's possible. It's a 3-possession game, down 7. Clark will have the ball, so as long as Clark gets it in, gets to the foul line, this will be important because if they turn the ball over here, there's still life. Faison running the baseline, gets it into Ely. No foul called. Ely looking for his teammate.
Whoa.
Lions, DeShanti now has it. Everyone's running for their life, trying to not get fouled, and finally a foul called near midcourt. And that was about 8 seconds runoff, 9 seconds runoff before Summit could even foul.
Ely had a really nice play there. He was running with the ball, but he almost jumped over Woods as he was passing it, but it was a clean play. There wasn't a foul there. Even though he knocked over Woods, it wasn't a foul because he passed it off.
Yeah, so Hawkins, the senior, trying to seal this game and finish it at the line, and he misses his foul shots. Not been good tonight. The foul line has been DeShanti Hawkins.
In general, this Clark team hasn't really done that well at the line so far tonight, or really, it is tonight. You know, this is about the end of the game, but yeah, when it comes down to it, their free throw shooting was kind of the most disappointing part of them tonight.
Yeah, I think
quite possibly.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, they've done well defensively, rebound defensively. They've done a nice job of making good shots, passing the ball, rotating. They've done a lot of great things tonight, but the one thing they need to work on, quite honestly, is their foul shots. And last year, that was a strength of this team. We've had a lot of players that were like around 75, 80% from the line, and for high schoolers, you like to have them right there at that 8%. I mean, a really good foul shooter is going to be around like 90%, but having those quality free throw shooters around 75, 80% down the stretch in games like this where you're going to get fouled and sent to the line, you need those free points to add to your score. So Wally Vickers might be running them, might be getting them exhausted because at the end of the game in this fourth quarter, not many made free throws. So get them tired in practice and then shoot free throws.
It almost felt like for Clark tonight that that whoever was shooting could have just spun around, looked the other direction, throw the ball behind him, and he had just as good of a chance to make it.
Yeah, as Shanti comes back, maybe he heard us and rattles that one in. And now it's just educational right now as Evans slices in and makes an easy layup. And Summit calls timeout. It's moot right now.
If Summit is playing to the end, they have to take a three there. You know, they can't go for the layup. I mean, even if it's desperate and even if it's not a good shot, you know, the layup was a really good shot. But, like, if you actually want to be in this game, you know, you'd have a two-possession game with 5 seconds to play, as ridiculous as that is to actually achieve. You know, you'd rather, you know, have a 5-point game than a 6-point game.
Well, in all honesty, though, it makes it a 6-point game. Making a 2 makes it a 6-point game, and you have 5 seconds left on the clock. If you force a 5-second call, you get a turnover, right?
Yeah.
You get a quick 3 up, and then it's a one-possession game. And then you have very little time, and you try to inbound. You call another timeout, if they have any. I'm not even sure if they have any quite yet. But you're within one possession. So I don't know. I agree with you that you need points here. But right now you look at situational basketball, and under 5 seconds, you can get 2 possessions.
Well, Reggie Miller isn't in this game, so I didn't expect a miracle.
An interesting Faison passes to Sean Ely out of bounds, and then he was looking to baseball throw it down the lane. Wasn't there. He gets it back to Miles as he goes into the middle of the court and gets fouled, and 3 seconds run off the clock, and it's 2 seconds, and quite honestly, that will do it.
There have been a ridiculous amount of free throws in this quarter alone, way, way more than any other quarter in this game, or even the rest of the game combined. So I don't know if that's just desperation or whatever, but it's been a pretty long fourth quarter.
And that'll happen. I mean, towards the end of the game, if it's close, that's what needs to happen to keep it.
I know we've had it happen before, but still, every time it happens, you know, it's just, you know, you have to wonder why you even bother with 2 seconds on the clock. You know, I keep saying it, but it's true.
Faison hits both down the stretch. He was that guy. Long three-point attempt off the back iron by Flynn. Will do it.
Made it.
Yeah, he almost made it. So the team down the street, we like to call them as Summit Country Day.
Yeah.
I'm not sorry. Summit Country Day comes into our house and leaves with a 8-point defeat as the Cougars assert themselves in conference, making their record 4-1 and dropping the Silver Knights to a 1-3 record. And then we are going to be on air, hopefully, for their next game. Actually, we probably won't be on their next game because North College Hill just went. It's on the schedule as home, but they're going to be away this Friday, and we'll probably be on air as our next game tomorrow for the girls' game. Joey, tell us a little bit about what we saw tonight.
Well, tonight we saw a lot of good team basketball, but a lot of sloppy play. Mostly it was good, but when it came down to things like free throws and things like taking smart shots, it was kind of bad for Clark. But everything else was good. They played tremendous defense throughout the stretch when you're facing some of the best offensive players in the conference. So I think overall you have to take away something good from this game, especially when you do face a Summit team that has been so good in the past, as I keep saying. But yeah, you just really do have to be careful moving into the future and take away what was good from tonight and not the bad.
You're right, and there's a lot of good coming from the offense from the Cougars, starting with 4 wins and only 1 loss against a Madeira team that was just okay, but they got down early. They really should have beat that team in Madeira. Looking forward, this Friday, they play North College Hill, another good team in conference that they can still beat. And then looking ahead after that, the day after, on Saturday the 15th, they'll play Purcell Marion. The Cavaliers coming to Clark Montessori High School. So 3 straight home games for the Cougars in December, and then they play at CHCA. CHCA is the king of this conference right now. CHCA is averaging 70 points a game, and that is who Summit gets next.
Finishing the game, the stat line, Sean Ely with 24 points. Really good performance for him. DeShante Hawkins with 12, also pretty good, and Miles Faison with 10. So pretty good overall for Clark. They had their 3 big shooters, especially Ely, who really did well down the stretch, and you got to give him credit.
Right. Yeah, Ely, a career day here with those 24 points, really asserted himself as a scorer, a good defender down the stretch against Woods as well. So we'll conclude here, a great 8-point victory for the Cougars against Summit Country Day. We'll see you, hopefully, if you're listening to this broadcast, you can hear us tomorrow for the girls' basketball game here at Clark Montessori High School, and with Athlete of the Week. It was named Deja Thornton with those 25 points and 24 rebounds. So
Congrats
Deja and company
her.
will be, in attendance for tomorrow night's game here at Clark. So for Joey Olberding, my name is Patrick Lewis. Thanks for joining us at 95.7 MRC, and we continue your support throughout this basketball season.
Student run, student made.
Direct from the MRC, straight from the Music Resource Center.
95.7 MRC. Want to make your own beats? Go to mrccincy.org and join us.
Direct from the Music Resource Center in Cincinnati.
This is 95.7 MRC.